Hello, everybody. We Rabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload Podcast, episode 22. Last couple of weeks, I don't remember which week it was, but it was one of these last few weeks. I remember saying something along the lines that it felt like stuff was going to start heating up soon. There was going to be a lot of stuff to watch and play and do, and I don't know. I feel like I'd been in a bit of a lag where there wasn't a lot going on, and I feel like a lot of stuff is coming at us. And sure enough, last week I felt like we had a lot to talk about. This week I feel like there's a lot to talk about, and I don't know. I'm just excited. It's exciting to have new things to do and talk about. So I'm looking forward to this podcast today. Legend of Jonathan is here, of course. Say hello, my dude.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's me, the Legend Jonathan. I'm back once again.
And what do you think? I feel like I'm really heating up, getting into a lot of stuff. What about you? Do you feel like stuff's starting to kind of come out where you're like, oh, I want to watch that and play that? And what do you think?
Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, definitely in the feeling that vibe as well because a lot of trailers have been coming out. A lot of games are coming out very soon that I'm excited for. Um, a lot of game stuff has been happening for the past year, and I'm barely finding out about that stuff now, and it's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
So a bunch of video game stuff is happening right now. Um, the new Pokemon series definitely, I'll talk about it in a bit, but definitely excited about that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm just very same thing. I feel like there's a lot of stuff coming out right now, basically.
A lot of stuff just going on.
hmm
Very cool. All right, with that being said, if you're ready to talk about your week, go ahead. Let people know what have you been up to. What's up?
All right, guys. So this was kind of the main focus because I didn't really do much except this, and honestly, this is kind of a huge thing. So the way the story kind of begins is that since last year, a group of a team of people decompiled the code of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and they were able to decompile it so that basically you can basically make it so that it runs off the official hardware, basically. And I was one of those early people that last year I was able to port the game to my PC, my laptop, because this is before I got my gaming PC.
Mm,
And the thing is that it was kind of
not that good.
it wasn't that great because it was basically just the default Ocarina of a Time, but it felt really awkward. You know what I mean? It just felt too awkward. And the thing is, there was no options. There was nothing to mess with it. It was just you had the game in front of you, and that was kind of it. There was nothing interesting about it. On
It
the
makes sense
six,
because it was just like you said, it was just oh, here's the what do you call it? Here's all the data, but I mean, people haven't really messed with it yet, so I kind of get what you mean. It's
Mhm.
just here it is,
Yeah,
but it's the same game you've always played. It's okay, where's the
yeah. And
interesting part?
so, at first I was like, okay, cool. I haven't beat the entirety of Ocarina of Time, which it's true I haven't. I've gotten as far as the Water Temple. That's as far as I've gotten. And the reason why is because there was a glitch and a bunch of other crap that the Virtual Console version had and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna play it. But then I got kind of bored because again, it was just the original game anyways. Um, so I just left it. The modifications people did were kind of ugly anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'm definitely coming back a year later. What a coincidence. Exactly a year later, there's an actual port of it called the Ship of Harkinian, where basically you can customize the difficulty of the game, you can customize Link's outfit, you can customize um items, you can customize a bunch of stuff. You can customize a lot of stuff, guys. You can literally do is you can enhance the frame rate. You can actually enhance it from 30, no, not 30, from 20 FPS to 60 or even beyond that if you want.
Nice.
So obviously, the original port from a year ago, you were able to put it at 60, but it wasn't that great because everything would lag too much or stuff would be clipping out of bounds, stuff like that. Here, everything's running perfectly at 60.
Nice.
So yeah, and then new control stuff. For example, I added a thing where because this is my first time trying to play the entire game, it's called Vanilla Plus. That's the name of the difficulty I chose. basically what it does is it enhances your gameplay so you can actually use the D-pad for once.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can use it for extra items and stuff, kind of like the 3DS version and stuff. So I did that, and so now I'm using like the freaking I'm using the minus button on my Switch for C left. I'm using the screenshot button for like I think it's supposed to be, oh yeah, C up. Then I'm using freaking which button? The home button for like down, and then I'm using ZR for like a right for like the C buttons. And then the
Yeah,
D-pad, I'm using the default D-pad.
interesting.
And then yeah, you can use the free camera for once because you know how Ocarina of Time I use is kind of like a directional camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can finally do that. And there's just a lot of stuff you can do in that game. That it's crazy how much stuff they added to it. It's like really great. It's a
So a
really
bunch of
great.
little quality of life stuff, basically.
Like for example, you know how Child Link he can't use certain items that Adult Link can or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Here,
yeah, yeah.
there's literally an option where if you go to like the cheats menu and you put like I think it's like any item equipable, then you go back to I think like enhancements and you click on one where it says like I forget what the option's called, but basically it allows specifically for Child Link to be able to use Adult Link items like the bow, and it allows like Adult Link to use like the slingshot if he wants to. So
Oh,
that's
that's
like
interesting.
another. So it's pretty cool because it basically just like I don't know if it enables everything either by clicking on that one, but basically it like allows like Link specifically to be able to like use adult items as a kid and then use like child items like as an adult. It's crazy. And
Yeah,
like yeah,
that's a
there's a
pretty cool little feature. That's interesting.
and then yeah, there's like a bunch of different stuff you can do with the map. Like for example, like you know how I mentioned how I can change the outfit if I want.
Yeah.
Basically, I changed Link's default tunic to red, like my tunic
Oh, I got you.
on
Like
my profile
your little
user
profile
thing. Yeah.
avatar. Yeah, that's
hmm
cool.
So I did that on purpose. I'm like, you know what? Like, if I ever decide, like, because I'm definitely gonna decide to like use that. You know, if I ever want to like use that for when I'm streaming on the channel, I'm definitely gonna like use that as my as Link's like outfit.
That's cool.
Like, definitely.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Dang, so that's pretty good. I mean, freaking props to all of these modders and people that like, dang man, they get like crazy with all these ideas and they go hard with like making games more unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
So yeah,
cool.
that's what I did. That was like the major thing. Super awesome. Another thing I found out really quick about that is that as a kid, I kind of just did the dungeons in the like actual good order where you get like all the items, you get all the keys and everything. This
Mhm.
time around, I basically did was in the first dungeon, which is the Deku Tree one. I literally skipped the part where you're supposed to get the slingshot, and I went straight to the boss.
Oh, that's funny.
And I skipped every room except the like the top one, and then you go down to like the bottom one. I did all of that just so I can get to the boss. But before went to the boss, I'm like, wait a minute, am I supposed to like get the slingshot in this dungeon? And so I went back and I got it real quick. But yeah, it was really crazy that
So
I
you
like
sequence broke it?
yeah, I sequence broke it basically.
That's funny.
And so yeah, that's what I did. Moving on, the thing I did that's anime, like me watching, is I saw the first episode of Pokemon Horizons.
Oh, me too.
That's what, yeah, that's pretty cool. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I like the fact that, I just like it, you know. I think it's pretty cool that this protagonist, she's like the complete opposite of Ash, the way he acted in the first season. Because here, like the way they portray like the very, very beginning of the episode, especially like the first few seconds too, is that it's like obvious that she's very shy, she's very like introverted, I guess you can say, but she wants to be more outspoken speaking. Um, but like her starter is literally like Pikachu, basically, where like he was like
Yeah.
kind of like a little dick at the beginning.
Yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah.
it gives off that exact same vibe, yeah.
Yeah, basically, she had the Spiritito, which people might have seen from the trailer or whatever. But the first thing it does when she tries to hug it, it scratches her and runs away. I
Yeah,
was like, wow, what a dick. And then she tries to give it like commands for like battle, and it like ignores her, huh?
yeah, or he'll like fall asleep.
Yeah, likes to sleep a lot, so just ignores her and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, poor girl.
And what's
Yeah, I watched it too. I guess to give kind of people a little bit of a summary because you kind of touched upon it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I watched the first episode. I heard they were gonna like it was gonna be 2 episodes together, like a 1 hour premiere, but I can't seem to find a second episode. All I was able to see was like the first episode online. But yeah, it's pretty cool because it starts basically where there's this girl, and it starts very interesting too. She starts at a bus stop, and then the bus is what takes her to like the academy she's gonna be like staying at. And yeah, like you said, she's really shy. She kind of wants to talk to the girls around her, but she doesn't know what to say, blah blah. It shows her going through the usual, school thing, especially if you played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where you're at school and you're meeting the teachers and other students, and they're picking like their starter and they're practicing, they're learning stuff in class, blah blah blah. And what I was gonna say is really interesting though. It's like so weird though. Um, it's crazy because the Ash never really, I mean, until I guess Alola, Ash never went to school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he never did, yeah.
And none of the people he was friends with did either. And then in the early games, you're basically this like wandering child. As soon as you turn 10, he was off. It was time to leave home and just wander around like a nomad. So it's so weird that
Yeah.
these newer games now, like starting from like a Lola forward, they're really pushing the idea of like, no, there's like a Pokemon school that students go to. Like school is still a big part of like the Pokemon world, but it's so weird because like the first like how many seasons of the show and the first
It was like
games.
it was more like the people were more higher class, if anything, too, in the early seasons that they would go to school.
Yeah. So it seems like
Hmm.
school wasn't even a thing in this world. It was so weird. Like
It
that's what
was
a
it
lot of
was
people make
very
fun of.
yeah.
Like they're like, where are these kids learning to do anything? Because and when they're 10, they just like start wandering around. And it's
Hmm.
so weird now they've made it so school's like a big part of the Pokemon world, apparently, where they like train you to like do Pokemon stuff. What I was gonna say is it kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like
Hmm.
the first whole series of Yu-Gi-Oh, the one with like Yugi Moto, Duel Monsters is just this thing people play.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
just a game, yeah.
there's tournaments and there's amusement parks and whatever because of Kaiba, but it's still very much a pastime. It's still very much something people play for fun. But then by the time you reach the other series, starting from like GX forward, it's the same thing. Where like no, the world runs on card games. There's schools where you learn like to battle and duel and card game theory and stuff and tournaments and like you know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
what it feels like here with Pokemon, where like at first Pokemon was just this thing, right? Like it was just the world of Pokemon. Some people go to school, some don't. I don't know how to explain it, but then like from like the newer stuff forward, it's like no. Everyone goes to Pokemon school. Pokemon school is a total thing. Everyone knows about Pokemon. In order to succeed in this world, you gotta like know about Pokemon. So that's why everybody like trains for it. So it's like very different. It's like a very different vibe. It's so weird. Like
Yeah.
seeing all these kids, like it happened like in last time too with Chloe. Like seeing Chloe go to school while Go and Ash are just running around like idiots. It feels weird because it's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, oh, she's
Yeah.
not coming because she's like at school. It's like so weird. And it's weird now that yeah, we're getting this environment where our main character, she's at school and she has like the whole like dorm experience with like a roommate and going to class and stuff. It's just so different. It's so weird to see that in Pokemon.
Yeah. I
Like it's not
remember
bad. It makes sense, but it just seems so different. You know what I mean?
yeah, I was gonna say like remember the first freaking episode of Journeys when freaking Chloe's talking to her friends and they're like, "Oh yeah, where's Go by the way?" And then she's like, "I don't know, he's being like a weirdo, not going to school or something like that." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like no one up until like this season goes to school basically, if anything, like majorly."
Yeah,
But
so
it's like,
him apparently ditching school is that what we're supposed to believe? That like up to now, everyone Ash has met has just been like dropouts or something? Like, how does that work?
yo, did Ash really just go to school for like 1 minute?
Like,
And
when
he's
he was like
like,
a
"Yeah,
child, like a 5-year old, like a little I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes it so different now. The
He
dynamic of
he he went
Pokemon.
to fifth grade, and then once fifth grade came around, he dropped out before he turned 10. So he's like, nah.
I guess. But anyway, that aside, like I said, so it's very interesting seeing that all of it like depends now on like school and a school setting. Very
Hmm.
different, very interesting. Going back to the main character, like you said, she's cool. She's very different from Ash, very shy, very insecure, that sort of thing. It's kind of cool because yeah, she's from Paldea. And
Hmm.
apparently this is her first time in Kanto, so that's like an interesting little tidbit. Um yeah, she says that she's going to the school because her parents suggested it was a good like place to go because they went there. So that's like an interesting little thing. We'll have to see if that like feeds into anything people have been expecting or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
So we'll see about that. And then where the plot starts, I wanted to mention is that yeah, her spirit teacher doesn't like her. It's like a dick to her. So it's interesting seeing her trying to get along with it and bond with it and stuff. And then what changes is that out of nowhere, as she's after she's been to school for like a bit because they're like the students are some of them are going home because it's like their first like vacation or their break or whatever. These weird people start. You can see that they're like looking for somebody, and you kind of get the hint they're talking about her. And it's like this sketchy people saying that they're like looking for somebody, and then one of them he actually goes and talks to like a staff member, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm here for to see Leet. I forget what her last name is, but
Her
like
name's
Leet.
Liko. Her name's Liko.
Yeah, but what's her last name?
I don't remember because they literally just put Mrs. Liko.
Oh, I think this is just Mrs. Aguirre. I was gonna say they say her last name, but they don't. But yeah,
No.
they're like, yeah, I'm here to see Mrs. Lico. I have like letter from her grandmother or whatever. And this guy tries to talk to her, and she like gets a gut feeling that something's wrong. So she runs to her room. She gets that little pendant that we've seen in the promotional artwork. She puts it on, and she basically starts running around the roofs with the Spiritita to escape. And that's when we see that, yeah, apparently there's like this evil organization after her trying to like kidnap her. There's like a bunch of people.
Because they
And
want
then
the pendant or whatever.
yeah, they want the pendant. And then that's when that other guy from the promotional artwork, the captain guy with the pilot guy with the we know he's gonna
Captain
have Captain
Pikachu.
Pikachu. Yeah, he swoops in and he starts fighting using his Charizard, and he starts like trying to hold back one of the guys that's trying to like kidnap Lita. And that's kind of where it ends, where she's just trying to escape, and then she activates the power of her pendant. But it was really interesting. Like, damn, this is like an actual criminal organization that seems like hardcore. Like they're like legit gonna kidnap her or whatever for her pendant, and we don't know what the pendant it's about yet either. But I thought that was like really interesting. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, like they seem like an actual threat. Like if this is supposed to be like the evil group for this part of the series or whatever, like like not bad so far.
Yo, freaking Team Rocket had babies and they're trying to get them.
Oh god.
It
Uh
just gets all weird.
Jeez. But yeah, so far, first episode was pretty good. Like I said, very different from the other series, like the whole Ash series. But at the same time, I kind of like it. I like that it does feel like its own thing. It feels very different so far, which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it kind of sucks as we didn't get introduced to Roy quite yet. In the first episode, they just show Lito or Liko, whatever her name is. Lito, yeah,
Liko, yeah.
Liko. But so far, I like her. She seems interesting, and it'll be cool to see her grow, and it'll be interesting to see where the plot takes us. So I'm invested. So
Nice.
same thing with you. I'm guessing you liked it too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't wait for it, yeah.
yeah, cool. Was that it for your week? I know I kind of took over there because I just kind of wanted to add my thoughts and stuff. But was that it for you?
Um,
Just those two things?
Honestly, and yeah, basically that really was like the major two things, yeah.
All right, cool. With that being said, though, transferring to my week, one of the things obviously overlapped with yours was that I watched the first episode of Pokemon Horizons. I think it's what it's called, the new one. After that, I had said the new anime season was going to start. So sure enough, I dove in and watched a few new anime series. The first I want to talk about, well, it's actually not new. It's a return. It's the second season, but I still want to talk about it. It's Tonikawa Over the Moon for You. That I don't remember if we were doing the podcast when the first season came out.
No.
I don't think we were doing it quite yet. I might have mentioned it during like a gameplay or something. But Tonikawa Over the Moon for You is this really cute rom-com slice of life, maybe supernatural, we're not sure yet, anime. And basically, I guess I can just read like the premise. I'll read the premise and kind of explain it. It says on a snowy winter night, NASA, and it's spelled like NASA, like NASA, Nasa Yuzaki, a boy who was made fun of during his childhood because of his peculiar name, encounters a beautiful girl after he received his practice exam grades for high school. When he tries to approach her, he gets hit by a truck due to his lack of attention. However, the girl saves him, and Nasa miraculously follows her to a bus stop and proceeds to confess his love for her. The girl, Tsukuyomi, agrees to become his girlfriend, but only if they are married first. Nasa quickly agrees to her demand and then passes out, waking up in a hospital. Nasa becomes heartbroken when he cannot find her again until his 18th birthday, where Tsukasa suddenly shows up at his doorstep. Tsukasa goes inside with the marriage form, starting a relationship and marriage. So very strange, very strange setup. Literally, that's how it starts. That yeah. All right, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got an alert. Just wasn't expecting it, and I was like, "Oh, is this important?" Luckily, I don't think it's too important. Sorry about that. As I was saying, yeah, weird premise, weird setup. We're literally to yeah, he just meets this girl, almost dies, and she's like, "Oh, I'll marry you" or whatever. He goes, "Yeah," and then passes out. Doesn't see her for years, and she randomly shows up. So very, very strange. But from there, though, it's a very cute anime. It's all about their relationship as newlyweds and trying to get used to each other, learning about each other because obviously they're kind of strangers when they get married. And I don't know, it's just one of those anime that's very, at least as of right now, very low stakes, just very like cute slice of life stuff. What makes it interesting though is that not only is it cute, it's interesting to see them like their relationship grow and seeing how they go from being married and trying to like upgrade to like a different like house and all that stuff. That there's kind of like a mystery aspect to it because it is called Fly Me to the Moon. His name is NASA, and he likes to like he's really smart and he kind of looks like space and stuff, which feels like it's like foreshadowing something. And then her name, and like the way like I don't know how to explain it. Like they seem to really show her tied to the moon. So is it like, is she human? Is she not? It feels like they kind of hint that maybe she's from the moon or something, or maybe she's like a magical being, or she's like immortal or something. Like we don't know, but
She's a moon ghost.
like something about the way that she like doesn't seem to like have like an actual like family, like actual parents. Like I think in one of the episodes they do go to visit her family, and she has all these like old like servants, and I don't remember if they're related to her, if they're just like childhood friends. Let me look down actually like at the character list. I might say real quick. Yeah, she has an adopted relative, and she has a bunch of maids that they do introduce them in one episode, but they never really show a mom or dad.
Oh,
And
that's
then
weird.
the way that they kind of talk about her, I don't know. Like I said, there's something really mysterious to her background. She doesn't really talk about herself. She doesn't really say where she went during that time that she disappeared and she just randomly came back. There seems to be something about like the moon that's very much tied to her, which that's like a whole thing in Japanese folklore, like the whole Princess Kaguya thing about the moon. I don't know. So there's something mysterious to her. So that's what makes this series really interesting. Then not only is it like a very cute rom-com slice of life thing and seeing their relationship and like them being newlyweds and getting used to each other is very cute, very like heartwarming. But then it feels like there's some sort of underlying like there's gonna be like some sort of like a twist, you know what I mean? It makes it very interesting too. Where you're wondering like, okay, what's gonna happen? I feel like they're hinting at something. So that makes it really interesting as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I watched the first two episodes of the second season. Second season's out right now, and I like it. I think it's pretty good. I think it's interesting. I think if you're looking for like I said, low stakes rom-com, I think you'll enjoy this, and I think you'll also enjoy it because unlike other series where it's all about like will they, won't they, or I don't know. The rom-coms are usually like very similar and it's just like them dating or whatever. Here it's interesting because the characters are like married since like episode like one or two, and it's all about them doing with like their married life, which is very different.
Yeah.
So that's different. So it's like, oh, that's something you don't really see very often in anime, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that one. Moving on to the second thing I want to talk about that I saw. This is a new one. It's called Insomniacs After School. I watched the first episode of it. This one is interesting because every so often I don't know. I'll look at what people say about, especially like manga. I'll see like what people say about like which mangas are worth reading, which mangas they've enjoyed, mangas that they're waiting for them to get adapted, stuff like that. And I remember that at some point not too long ago, I had actually read of some people that talked about this manga, before it became an anime adaptation. And they talked about really enjoying it, about how it was really good. It was like a really fun read, blah, blah, blah. And I had thought about I thought about reading it, but I think maybe I did it because I was like, it might have been that it was ongoing, and I was like, I'd rather see if there's anything that's already finished. That way, like the whole story's out, so I can like start with that instead. And I think that's why I
Yeah.
kind of like avoided it, and I ended up reading something that was already like finished, right? Like start to beginning to end.
Mm.
But whatever. Fast forward to now. If I ever want to pick up the series, I mean, I still can. Whatever. And it's cool because it has the anime adaptation, obviously. And so far, it's a pretty interesting, show. I like the first episode. Basically, it's about two characters. The one we're introduced to first, his name is Ganta, and
Mm.
he is this boy that apparently he suffers from insomnia. That when nighttime comes around, he just cannot get to sleep. And he tries everything, listening to podcasts and music and whatever. You can tell like he's tried a bunch of stuff, but he just like cannot get to bed. And so he's always sleepy during the day. And so it shows that when they're gonna have like a school festival or whatever, these girls are talking about like this rumor that their school, the reason they don't have like an observatory club or whatever, like people look at like the sky using like telescopes and stuff. And supposedly, even though they have like a giant telescope, the reason that they don't have like a club is because like some former member, something about like how like she like killed herself by jumping off like the top of the building, and then something
Mm.
about like this guy that liked her, he like also like died or something. I don't know, something like that. It's like the room's haunted or some like weird thing, right? Like some girl's explaining it, and as they're talking about that, they see that our protagonist, he's asleep like in a pile of like boxes in the classroom.
Mm.
And they tell him like basically to stop being useless, blah blah blah. Go get like some more supplies from um the observatory they were just talking about, like this like storage room next to it. And so he's like, fine, whatever, I'll go get it. He's gonna go get it. And the whole time he's talking about how he's tired, how it sucks. He stops to talk to a friend, explaining how he hasn't been able to sleep, all that good stuff. When he gets to the observatory, he's like, yo, it's so quiet up here. This would be a nice place to sleep. And he's thinking of like, getting a nap, but he sees that there's a girl that's already sleeping there. Like she's just like chilling and sleeping. And her name is Isaki. And she's the other protagonist. And basically she admits that, yeah, she's the one who started the rumor. That way nobody would go up to like that observatory thing. She's the one who started the rumor to freak everybody out. And that's like her hangout spot to like nap during the day because she has the same problem as him about the insomnia. And so it's kind of cool because they both go like, "Oh my god, like you have the same issue I have. I thought I was alone, blah blah blah." And they actually both fall asleep like in the observatory, and then they're all embarrassed or whatever. But from there, they kind of form like a little friendship where they're like, "If we have the same problem, what about like tonight? We like hit the town and just hang out." And so it shows them, exploring the town at night. It's like all abandoned and stuff until like the morning breaks, and then they're kind of like, "Oh, I guess I'll see you at school, like later today or whatever." And I don't know, it's just interesting. Part of it kind of reminds me of Call of the Night because Call of the Night also had to do with like insomnia, not being able to sleep, exploring at night when like no one else really does. Except while that was a big city, here it's like a small country town. But it's just like so far, it's just like a very interesting slice of life, series about these two kids that they have insomnia and how they kind of like form this bond over it. And just like, you can tell there's gonna be a lot of them just hanging out in an observatory and just having all sorts of misadventures, I guess. And it's just really sweet, pretty cool, pretty interesting. I'm wondering if there's going to be more to why they have the insomnia. I mean, that might be a plot point. We'll see. But so far, it just seems like a very interesting premise. The characters are really likable. The relationship seems pretty cool, And I don't know, it's just like an easy watch,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Insomniacs After School.
Cool.
And finally, the last one I want to talk about. This one I watched 3 episodes of because this started a little bit while back, and this is probably the craziest of the three. While the other ones have been like more slice of life, kind of rom-com sort of thing. This one is definitely an adventure, mystery, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic show. And I'll read the little plot so you guys kind of, get the idea of it, and I'll explain it. So it says, in the outside world, 15 years have passed since an unprecedented disaster that completely destroyed modern civilization. A group of children live in a facility isolated from the outside world. One day, one of them, a girl named Tokyo, receives a message that says, do you want to go outside of the outside? Mimihei, or Mimihimi, another girl who lives in the same facility, has a prediction and tells the upset Tokyo that two people will come from the outside to save her, one of whom has his same face, while the director of the school tells her that the outside world is hell. Meanwhile, a boy named Maru, who looks just like Tokyo, is traveling through this devastated Japan with a girl named Kiriko in search of heaven. So yeah, it's just like this weird, when you see Maru and Kiriko, kind of reminds me a lot of like The Last of Us. It feels like that sort of type of world where everything's abandoned, it's overgrown. They're just wandering around looking for supplies, trying to survive. They do run into other survivors, but luckily, as long as you show your power and you kind of, show that you are strong, you can like manipulate them, and they won't kill you or whatever. So, whatever. So it feels like that. But then it also has like this weird thing where, like, yeah, if you're wondering like what destroyed the world, we don't know. But during one of the episodes, they're fighting this thing that looks kind of like, not exactly, but do you remember in Twilight Princess what the birds would look like when you were in the dark realm?
Oh yeah, and then they look like they have like a trumpet head or some weird thing, like a flower head.
Not exactly like that, but that's like the closest thing. That's a good start. It's like these weird, like, at least the thing they fight is like a weird bird that's totally mutated, has some sort of weird flower head, and it uses like these like weird like vines to like literally cut through things and chop them up, and it eats things through that flower head. Yeah, it's really weird.
So it's like that, except it has more stuff to it.
Yeah, and it's like huge too.
Damn.
And yeah, so it's really interesting because there's these two kids. They're trying to survive. They're like in a post-apocalyptic world. Everything's pretty calm, like I said, if you can show you're tough to survivors, you'll be fine. There are little areas of other survivors, like farms and stuff. So, it's kind of like I said, like The Last of Us, where it's not like everything's totally, like you can find areas that are safe. You can like try to live there, but if you want to keep going to like find something else, you're free to do so as well. And basically, so that's one story. And the other story is that, there's this weird facility where there's all these kids that like everything's like run by robots. There's these adults that are really old, like this old lady in a wheelchair, and you don't know what the deal is because even though it looks peaceful and looks calm, and like these kids, everything they want is like they're taken care of, they get schooling and stuff. The fact that they're in that facility, like right away, you can tell something's sus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just like a really interesting series where you're just like, what happened to the world? You really want to know what like the backstory is there, and what is up with like the facility. Why are the kids there? What is the secret? Like, why can't they leave? Because they tell them, oh, you can't leave because it's like the outside world is hell, which they're not wrong. But like, are they lying to them? Like I said, something feels kind of sus. And then with that girl, exactly, especially Tokyo, why did she like randomly get the message about how she wants to go outside? And why did that other girl have like the premonition that says, oh, these other two people that are, we followed, they're going to show up to like save you? Like, what's happening? There's like a lot of mystery, a lot of questions, and like a lot of like world building and stuff. It's really interesting.
It's just analog horror. That's why.
No, that's not what analog horror is.
Look outside. Look outside. Look at the moon.
That's not what analog horror is. Oh, you're so dumb. That's not what analog horror is.
It is.
No, analog horror means like found footage stuff or like tapes that are.
Oh, right, that's true. It's just people kept saying that was, and then it wasn't. Okay,
yeah, you just like totally derail the conversation. I know, stop it. Anyways, it's really interesting. And then what's crazy is I was watching the first 3 episodes that's went out so far, and the end of episode 3 that gives you like end of episode 2 gives you like a total other twist that they start talking about in episode 3 that makes you go, wow, so this is even crazier than I thought already. I don't know, dude. So this so far has been really good. I've enjoyed it so far. I would say check it out. It's really, really interesting. Like, it has a lot of mystery and world building and stuff, and I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Yeah.
So if you want like a cool adventure, mystery, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic sort of, series, you might enjoy this. So far I've watched 3 episodes and I think it's pretty good. It definitely has a lot going on. Animation's really good. So there you go.
Nice.
Alrighty, that's it for my week. So far, I watched 4 different series, you can say, if you count the Pokemon. But don't worry, I am going to talk about more next week because there's definitely more on my radar that I want to watch and talk about. So look forward to that. But for now, those are the 4 that I, watched so far. With that being said, though, I think we should jump over to the news. And jumping over to the news, 3 different news stories, 3 pretty interesting content, all of it. Starting with the first one. This is one that I wanted to talk about on my channel, and I just didn't have the time for it. But it's still pretty cool. So hopefully, talking about here is pretty cool. As it says, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom third trailer.
Oh yeah, that was pretty lit.
So what was cool is that it came out of nowhere. Like it seemed like they were done with Zelda. That just had that like other trailer and the gameplay and whatever. Seems like that's all we were gonna get, right? And out of nowhere, like the day before, we got a thing from Ayuma or whatever, where he's like, "Yeah, there's gonna be like a final trailer. Tune in, this date, and we're gonna have like a 3-minute trailer. Like, stay tuned." And so, sure enough, it was like in the middle of the morning they had it, and dude, that trailer is epic. Like a lot of people were saying that even people who weren't on board that were afraid it was just going to be like basically like DLC. Like everybody shut up. They're like, no, it's not. It is like an actual like holy crap, this is exciting. Everyone's like excited now.
Nice. Oh no,
So
but yeah,
for you, what was the most exciting part?
what I liked was obviously the rebirth slash resurrection of Ganondorf. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he has like a
The
really cool
line,
look. He has a
and
really
then
cool look.
the line that he gave was super awesome as well. The fact that he's like witnessed the revival of a king and watch as his world gets created. No,
Yeah, because he's
watch
voiced by
as
Matt
his
Mercer, who's
watch
done
as his
a bunch of stuff in the past. He's a pretty good voice actor.
yeah. So I like the fact that that is something Ganondorf would definitely say that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
His design makes a lot of sense when you look at the fact that we keep being told that Breath of the Wild takes place centuries after every other game. And I don't mean like one timeline. I mean like every single timeline. So they
Mhm.
say, oh yeah, that all that's legends and no one knows what happened in the past, but we're not sure, blah blah, stuff like that. Supposedly that's what they say. What's cool is if you look at the design of Ganondorf, it's similar to both Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, where he has the beard, he's more big. Um, his design and the fact that the way he acts is, it's Ganondorf, but it's more harsher. Like you can tell that Calamity Ganon slash Demise is really giving up on the like trying to be more civil, I guess you can say in a sense. So here it's more like it's more of the rage is coming out more. Um,
I think in other stuff he's been like a more of a manipulator. He's been more like deceitful and cunning. Here it looks like he's all
like he's going out
strength.
all
Just
out, yeah. Like
yeah,
he's
it's just
going all
crazy.
out, like saying like, nope, we're done. Like we're not gonna play games anymore. We're gonna like ruin everything quick. And if you look at his skin, obviously same thing. It's the typical like greenish brown skin, but it looks more because the fact that he just barely got resurrected and the fact that he used to be in the Ganon form before. You can tell that's more from his Ganon form. Um, and it's just cool because, other than the fact that he's more bigger because it's like from Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, you could tell his design is more akin with like Demise, for example. Like it looks like Demise really did say like, nope, this is like my human form now. Like this is really his human form, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
that's
pretty cool
what's really
stuff.
cool. Yeah, so it's pretty cool that they got the design and really said, yeah, this is like his actual good design for this game. So that was pretty badass. I like the fact that we saw the different locations finally instead of just the green area.
Oh yeah, it showed so many different environments and stuff. That
Hmm.
was really cool.
Yeah, I like the freaking you like the platforming stuff was pretty unique. I thought that was pretty unique. The plot stuff seems pretty interesting so far as well. Very small stuff, but still very interesting.
Yeah, there's gonna
Um,
be a lot having to do with the other hero, the other like champions and stuff helping you definitely.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna mention too. It looks like literally like the way that you're fighting and the people are helping you, it looks like you have party members basically. Like the way they
That's almost what it
act
looks like.
too.
Yeah,
Especially because it has like the little thing on top to kind of tell you that they're helping you. It literally feels like when you're playing an RPG like Kingdom Hearts, and you know that the person's on your side and they actually look like they're actually helping. Like they're not just there because why not, you know?
yeah, that was pretty cool.
hmm Um, yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. Me being, a Zelda fan, I was just really happy to see the new final trailer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just hoping that, we know that the plot's pretty similar to other games, but since they always saying like, oh, it's like, supposedly the spoilers and like all that stuff, I really want to see what the supposedly they're preparing us for, you know?
Yeah, especially because here it does feel like they're trying to live up to something big. Like the whole point is it's something big. It's something like not only is the gameplay different, but it feels like story wise they are preparing us for something different. Like for me, for instance, I like all the stuff you mentioned as well. But yeah, it just seems really exciting how, for instance, I'm still not like too happy that it looks like Zelda is gonna like disappear again, blah blah. But
I'm happy, I'm caring.
it looks like she is gonna be doing her own thing though.
Because in some Zelda games, they really do that thing where it's like, oh yeah, she got kidnapped. What is she doing though? Is she like holding back like
And
Ganon,
for
kind of like
instance,
in Breath of the Wild?
in this game, it was cool that I mean, sorry, in the previous game, it was cool that okay, it sucks that she's locked up the whole time, but at least we had like the memories of her. Here, I think they're gonna go even farther, or even though she unfortunately is whatchamacallit, even though she is maybe like somewhere, because it shows at the beginning that where it shows that like Link and her to get separated, it looks like she might be hanging out and doing something to maybe like help progress the story, if that makes sense.
hmm
Because the fact that how it's the titular Tears of the Kingdom, it shows she's holding one, and she says like, "There's something like only I can do" or whatever. She's holding one, so who knows if behind the scenes she herself is doing something that's adding to like the plot. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because like I was saying, like last game, the only thing she was kind of doing the whole time was she was saying that she was holding back Ganon, which is
But
pretty
yeah, it's
useful,
good, but it's just that we don't really get to see anything though. Yeah.
Yeah, because in a lot of Zelda games, it really is just, oh yeah, I got kidnapped. Last game, it was nice to see something kind of different because whenever Zelda's holding back Ganon, it's always the final battle, and that's kind of it. Like it's not even throughout the whole game. Here, it's nice because at least we know that there's someone kind of helping from the beginning to the end. But I
Yeah.
really do hope that here, again, kind of like the last game, but here they actually progress it like way more because, like the fact that they make it look more important. I really want to see like, yeah, what is she gonna exactly do? Like, are those tier things gonna like destroy or weaken Ganondorf while you're traveling? Does that activate stuff across the world and you have to go there to get the stuff? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I just saw everything I saw. I thought was really exciting, really cool. Um, oh man, I just think the powers you can use are crazy. The environments look crazy. Everything having to do with like the story looks really interesting. Um, I don't know, man. There's just like, so much to talk about. There's so much to break down. I don't even know what half of the stuff is, but all I know is it looks exciting, looks good. Comes out like in a month, so that is really cool. And I'm excited to just like play that day one, honestly.
Yeah. Me too. I'm actually want to get it like day one too.
Yeah, like I said, it's really cool because even people who weren't like that big on it, I think people were kind of like about it. Even they seem like they're down now. You know what I mean? Even they seem like they're like, holy
Yeah.
crap, like I want to get this now. Because those people that definitely seem like they were just kind of like, whatever. And it seems like even they're pretty excited for it now, which is cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so everybody, you can check that out. Of course, it's on the official Nintendo channel or whatever, and all sorts of websites. Like I'm gonna link the thing below where it talks about it. It's like a story or whatever. So feel free to look at that. As for our second story, this is one that I've heard about this for like a while, but it hasn't really been confirmed. But then this most recent thing we got makes it seem real, so I don't know. As it says, rumor Persona 3 remake and new Jet Set Radio game footage appears online. Now, like I said, I've heard for a while now. that there might be a remake of Persona 3. Because Persona 3, the
Mhm.
controls are a little bit more outdated. So I had heard for a bit that maybe they're going to make a remake in the style of Persona 5, a little more updated. And it's crazy because out of nowhere on April 4th, there was this little like showcase reel where it shows for some reason Sonic Frontiers and then it shows like some other stuff. Like it's almost like a sizzle reel. And one of the things it shows is Yukari from Persona 3. She's one of the characters, and it shows her summoning her persona, and like the graphics look really updated. Like this isn't from anything existing. So like that's really cool. And then there's like this whole thing also with Jet Set Radio where it shows like the characters and they have like this, it's like, same thing, new art style or like update art style. They have new clothes, that sort of thing. And that one was another thing where they had said supposedly a while ago, it says right here, back in April 2022, Bloomberg reported that Sega was developing big budget reboots of its Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi franchises. So I don't know, man. It's just like the fact that this came out, it looks legit. You never know. Obviously there's stuff where it looks legit and it ends up being stupid. What do you call it? It ends up being freaking fan stuff, which ends up pissing everybody off.
Yeah.
But at least it looks real, looks cool, really exciting stuff. But yeah, it remains to be seen if it's real or not, especially because the Atlas, I don't think they've said anything. But that's not surprising because a lot of times they do try to keep stuff to themselves or whatever. But yeah, I'm excited to see, is it real? And I don't know, like it'll be awesome if there really was real, but who knows?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can look at the footage for yourself or whatever. It looks pretty awesome. And I don't know. It would be cool if it was real, especially because like Jet Set Radio has been like a dead franchise for a while. So it'd be cool if they like gave attention to it. The one thing that does suck is that if they really do reveal a Persona 3 remake like pretty soon, it's like UJ's just released the ones for all systems, and I'm literally doing a playthrough of Portable right now. It's like really you decide now was the good time to do the remake. Like that would kind of piss me off a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's whatever, like I said, them bringing back series and making more remakes and whatever, it's a good thing. So I can't really complain. But it is just one of those things where it'd be like, really, of all times I decided to like start a playthrough, now's the time you guys decided to like do a remake while I'm in the middle of it. Like that would be kind of lame, Alrighty. And our last one is an anime one, and this one is just, oh my God. It makes me facepalm. It makes me shake my head. I don't want to get too much into politics, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh boy.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was so
stupid. So as the article title says, Assassination Classroom manga removed from Florida. I guess it's Florida and Wisconsin. It doesn't say Florida and, but it has like a comma. So I guess Florida and Wisconsin school libraries. So for anyone who doesn't know, Assassination Classroom is the show where there's this yellow-headed big alien thing, and he is like this crazy powerful like, destroyer. And for some reason, like from what I remember, because it's been a while since I watched the whole thing, and I only watched some episodes. And from what I remember from what I've seen, basically he says something along the lines of that, like before he destroys before he destroys Earth, he's gonna give Earth a chance. Like he's gonna teach a classroom for like a year or something. Like that's what he says in exchange for giving everybody like a year to live. Or I don't remember if it's a year.
They have to learn how to kill him supposedly.
Yeah, so it's almost like he's kind of saying like, I'll give you guys a chance. I won't like just destroy Earth. I'll give you guys a chance where like I'll have a classroom I'm gonna teach, and I'll teach everybody how to like I guess like kill me if they want to. And basically there's all these students, they're all assassins, and it's like if they can pull it off, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while, but I know it has something to do with them trying to kill the teacher. The teacher's like this big goofy alien, but he's really powerful. And while he's teaching the classroom, he's pretty chill. He's not looking to hurt anybody, basically. Point is, that came out a while ago. It's had its manga and it's had its, anime adaptation, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So for whatever reason, as it says here, it says Gifford Middle School in Eastern Florida removed the Assassination Classroom manga from its library last month after receiving complaints from groups. And then it says the Elbrook School District in southeastern Wisconsin similarly removed the manga from its electronic library last month after a complaint by a parent. The series is facing challenges in other states as well. And so you would think, okay, what happened? Is it because maybe there's something that's very controversial in it? Is it
Sexual
made
or
too
something.
violent, too sexual? Like it kind of makes sense. Okay, there's different manga, in high school sometimes or middle schools, but maybe it shouldn't be there. Like for instance, if they had I don't know, something very gory. For instance, if they had like
Demon Slayer.
well, yes and no, no. I'm thinking like
Berserk,
more.
Berserk.
Like if they had Berserk or like Goblin Slayer
Oh, definitely Goblin Slayer, yeah.
or stuff like that, like a middle school especially, I can see like, yo, okay, I get it. That's not really for kids. Even like in a high school setting, it might be a bit iffy because if it's like something I would say more R-rated, and we're talking about like a high school, a lot of those people are under 18 or under 17 or whatever. I don't totally agree with it, but I can kind of maybe see the point, right?
Yeah.
But no, the point of why the reason their complaint is the stupidest thing. There's a quote by someone here that says, considering the recent school shootings in the U.S., Pippin added, "We don't want students to think it's okay to kill their teachers."
That's
And then
the
someone else
dumbest quote,
says,
yeah.
we should all be able to agree that violence towards teachers and explicit sexual content is not something that schools should be glorifying or promoting, especially on taxpayer dollars.
Okay, the violence towards teachers, like, oh wait, no, the sexual content. Okay, maybe that's where it's like, okay,
Once again, I could maybe see it, especially like I said, if it's like a middle school, okay.
but like no one's gonna take the teacher thing serious though. That's how I feel like
Especially because it's an alien. Unless you're telling me that aliens teach classes now, and we're trying to learn obviously retort against aliens. What does that mean? It's not
an alien.
Like this is where I don't want to get political, but some of these people jump through so much hoops when there's like an obvious problem happening in schools and at, let's say, like a federal level, and then there's things we could try to tackle, and then they go, what'll help if we get rid of this because it's violent, and that's what's making the kids mad.
Yeah, and not
And
the
what's
like
so annoying
other
is
stuff,
that
yeah.
what's so annoying is that history repeats itself and we never learn. This is the same thing that happened like the 80s with, oh no, Dungeons and Dragons is evil. It's making the kids like
Satanic.
Yeah, like they literally show that Stranger Things. That's something that actually happened in the US. Or like, oh no, we can't have rock music because like all these things.
It's worshiping the devil, yeah.
Yeah, they blame everything except actually doing what they should do, which is like parenting, talking to kids, laws that maybe will help our country if there's like actual issues in play. No, it's always like let's get rid of the stuff that the kids like. I bet that's what's messing them up.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's so stupid because they do it like every decade.
Literally,
and then they never
90s,
learn. They never learn. It never works. So why don't they like not look at the past and be like, it didn't work. It was us overreacting. Maybe we shouldn't do it this time. But no, they always do the same crap.
Yeah, freaking like before, like the 90s to 2000s, it was video games, Dragon Ball and Pokemon. Those were like the number two, like number one freaking thing that they kept saying was like supposedly making the children violent. It was those two things. And I remember like, yeah, that was like they do that like every freaking decade. Like literally the 2010s, wasn't it like GTA 5 or something like that?
Yeah, it was in the GTA games. They're trying to blame those, and
Yeah,
they're always trying to blame something. And then there's always like, it's just I don't even know what to say without. Oh my god, it's just so stupid. People never learn. It's always just might as well blame Mario. He's super violent, I guess. I don't know. It's just so dumb. And like they never, like I said, maybe you could try talking to your kids. You can try actual parenting. You can try, doing laws that'll help our country. But no one ever wants to like actually work for anything. It's always let's just blame something. That will solve our problems.
That always works. Yeah.
And then it never works. So it's like I just don't get it, man. It's so stupid. So I just want to share that because that's the state we've gotten to where like I don't know. And that's what I was gonna say too. That and not only that, but as stupid as it sounds. I don't know how to say it so it doesn't sound weird either, but kids being exposed to weird shit, I think it honestly helps them.
Because they understand what's weird and what's not, honestly.
because like I remember in high school, in middle school too, I read like we had teachers that would let us read anything. Like they didn't like question like if you wanted to read it, they would let you. Like it was so you could like grow and read, especially because a lot of people don't like reading. So if you were interested in reading it, they would encourage that. And
Hmm.
I read everything in middle school from stuff that in high school from stuff that had to do with like serial killers and sexual deviants and murderers and romantic stuff and erotic stuff. Like I would read like anything that like because I've heard of this book or honestly it was almost a badge of honor. You know how there's always those books like at some point they were banned because of like whatever.
You got to read those?
It was almost like a badge of honor to read those because it's like what dumb reason did it get banned for? Let's check it out. And so I've read all sorts of books, especially when I was younger, that would touch on any subject under the sun and it didn't mess me up because guess
Yeah.
what? It's just like you read it and you might go like, "Oh, that's weird," and if it really bothers you, you put the book down,
And you didn't just never
or
touch it ever
you
again.
talk to a teacher about it, or you talk to like a parent about it, and you move on.
Hmm.
And here, I feel like they want to baby kids so bad, where it's like, "Oh no, if something's violent." Don't expose them to that because it'll like scar them for life, or they're gonna try to imitate it. Like, if your kid is imitating something they read in a book, then you probably failed as a parent.
Hmm. Yeah, it's very,
Like, there's no reason
yeah.
they should be imitating something they read in a book. You know what I mean? Like,
Because by that point, you never tell your kids not to replicate stuff that they like see that's like fictional, basically, if anything.
exactly. Like, oh my god! Like, I remember reading like the stuff, like the Hannibal Lecter books, and like I said, like eighth grade, and like high school, and just like so many books with all sorts of controversial topics and stuff. And it's like you read it and that's it, and you move on. But these people make it sound like, oh no, the kids are gonna replicate it, and like, oh
It's
my
like
god,
not
it's
really.
just so ridiculous, man. Like I get our world's screwed up and you kind of want to protect kids, but at the same time, you can't really like protect them by like just like taking everything away. Like if anything, you just like I said, there has to be more like talking to them and discussing what fiction is, and I don't know why things are like
Yeah.
wrong, and I don't know, man. It's just I don't want to get into it. But the point is, when I read stories like this, it just drives me crazy because I'm just trying to imagine all the books I would have missed out on reading, all the interesting things I wouldn't have learned because if someone was just being like a total
Like they're crying
just
over the fact that I had this stuff. Yeah.
yeah, it's just so stupid, man. It's just
A book about an alien is teaching me to kill teachers.
yeah, I'm gonna
But
want to kill my teacher because yeah,
apparently, he looks like an alien.
yeah, it's just so
It's so
dumb.
stupid.
Apparently I'm too stupid to like because like the kids have powers, right? So apparently what I'm gonna think I have powers too. I'm gonna try to recreate it. Like how stupid is that?
Yeah, it's so. Oh boy.
Oh God, I don't know, man. But yeah, that was the last story. Like I said, this kind of stuff drives me crazy. Censorship, just like oh my God, some people just want to take censorship so far. And like I get it, like I said, we're living in a world where it is hard and you want to protect your kids, but you don't protect them by just taking stuff away and by banning stuff. You protect people by educating them so that they know right and wrong and they know
Not to
that
replicate whatever is on TV or in a book or anything. Yeah.
exactly, it's like the whole, I don't want my kid to drink or like do drugs. You
Then
don't teach them you don't teach them by just banning everything and pretending that alcohol and drugs don't exist.
you basically like lecture them.
You teach them, yeah, by lecturing them and explaining why it's wrong and like giving them like a foundation, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because if you act like these things don't exist, you're always hiding from them, that's just gonna make them curious to try it out, you know what I mean?
They're gonna be like, why is this so bad then? Like,
Yeah, it's just oh my God. But anyway, just whatever. But yeah, so there we go. So we're gonna have to see what other kind of crap they ban because schools are banning all sorts of things and assassination classroom suffered, I guess.
yeah, poor assassination classroom.
You will be missed. Oh Lord. But all right, that's it for the that story.
Yeah.
Alrighty, looking at the news, that's it for the news as well. Like I said, it was pretty simple stories. All of them were we could have conversations on each of them more in depth, but that's just kind of like an overview. And yeah, pretty quick, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on to our topic of the week, it's going to be pretty simple as well. I couldn't really think of anything I want to talk about too in depth, like a video game or like a movie or anything, or like an anime series or anything. So instead, what I want to talk about is something that actually caught me by surprise. is that there is this channel on YouTube called D Clemente, and I think I should check it out because it is this awesome channel where I want to say it's a guy. This guy makes he basically makes videos it's like a parody, I guess you can say, of stuff that's already out there. He uses like the sound and he mashes it with Animal Crossing New Horizon clips.
Yeah, I've seen the dude.
Yeah, so the best way to say it, for instance, is like if you guys have ever seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where basically there's that part where the dude's talking to the lady, he's like, okay, you know, like who that killed your brother or whatever, who shot your brother, and she's like, I don't know, because like I didn't see his face, but I know he was like singing a song in like in the bathroom or something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you know, and he's like, oh, what was he singing? And she's like, he was singing that like Backstreet Boys song. And after he goes like, okay, he's like, number one, I need you to sing the opening to My Way by Backstreet Boys. He's like, okay, and the guy starts singing it. And he's like, okay, number two, and like number three, number four. And then you guys start really getting into it. He's like, number five, and they're like, you know, really into it. And he's like jamming along, and he's like, oh, that brought me tears. And the lady's like, it was number five. Number five killed my brother. And he's like, oh my god, I totally forgot. So we're looking for.
Yeah, he forgot that was the whole point of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so basically, this guy D Clemente, he redoes all that. But each of the characters in the story, so like the cop, the lady, the five guys that are in the lineup, they're all Animal Crossing characters.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool.
He does it really good. We're using like the little using camera angles and props and costumes and the little emoticons or whatever. He basically recreates the scene I was just talking about.
That's so cool.
And he's done a lot of stuff. He's done that Brooklyn Nine-Nine thing. He did episodes of SpongeBob. He did other viral stuff. I think he did like there's like another viral one about like the lie detector. I don't remember from what show that's at, but it's the one we're supposed to use the lie detector on the guy. He starts like reviewing a bunch of like stuff that's all like raunchy or whatever. And then he did some stuff from Persona. He did a thing from like the Joker movie, like all sorts of stuff, like just stuff that's been like popular, like little almost like viral clips or whatever, or like memorable stuff. He's basically done it using the Animal Crossing characters as well as, like I said, like the SpongeBob stuff, which is really cool. And the reason that it caught my attention is that he hadn't made a video in a while. It had been like a year since he made one, but out of nowhere, like a day or two ago, he made one for Bowser singing Peaches from the movie.
Yeah.
And that's what caught my attention because I've been subscribed to the person and they've just been inactive. And out of nowhere, this was in my subscription box or whatever. And I watched it and it's like so good. It's so funny. And that's what made me go like, oh man, I just want to like talk about this channel and how people should check it out because it's like so good. Like it's so funny the way he uses like the props and the characters and the camera angles and stuff. Like it's really, really good. And they just released that new video. And in the description, they even said, I found the milk because they were gone for so long.
Yeah.
Like saying that he went out for milk or whatever. So hopefully he starts making videos again because he had just been gone for like a long time. Because he makes really, really high quality stuff using just the Animal Crossing like in-engine stuff.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I really, really love the channel and I'm glad to see him back. So like I said, I think everybody should check him out. The name of the channel is D Clemente. Even then, don't worry. I am going to link it below as like the topic of the, what do you call it? Topic of the week or whatever. There'll be the link to the channel, but definitely check it out. Really talented, really good stuff, really fun. I think like you said, you've seen some of them, right?
Yeah, I've seen some of them. I didn't know what the freaking Brooklyn Nine-Nine one. That one was that's
like, what's one that you've seen, for instance, that you would suggest? If you've enjoyed it, what have you seen?
I remember this is like from when they started during the pandemic.
The thing is, he's not the only one. I know other people did them as well.
Oh, then maybe it was something, but I don't know. I feel like it most likely was this guy. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know there was one with SpongeBob where it was like an actual like Like they were able to recreate the SpongeBob episode. I think it was the bully one because I'm looking at your screen. I think it was the bully one actually.
Yeah, because he's done like the bully one. He's done
Band Geeks.
Band Geeks. He's done all sorts of stuff, man. That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been the bully one. I think that one was a little viral for a bit, I think, I want to say.
Yeah, freaking. Oh, yeah, those ones are good. Like, I think it's mostly just like the SpongeBob. Oh, and then there was the one with The Office, actually.
Yeah.
Like, the Office one, I saw that one too. Like, that one was perfect. So, like, I remember that one definitely too. So,
Oh, then
yeah, these.
he did the one for the offensive office. I don't know if you ever seen the one where like the guy goes like, "We have a lot of fun around here," and it cuts to him going like, "No, Janice, I'm not gonna go to your stupid fucking
Oh, yeah,
baby
yeah,
show or
yeah.
whatever."
I've seen it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he did that one as well, and it's just funny like seeing all that stuff come out of the Animal Crossing characters like Miles or whatever.
Yeah, freaking.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
they end up being really great. Yeah.
Yeah, but there you go, guys. I say check it out. I think it's really good. Like I said, hopefully they keep making them. I think that'd be awesome. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I recommend it too.
Alrighty, guys, and that is it for this week's podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it. I know we mentioned some stuff that was pretty cool to check out, whether it was anime or like the video game mod, that sort of thing. We talked about some news that was pretty interesting. We'll have to wait to see how each of those develops. And we even suggested a channel that's fun to check out. Like I said, hopefully they keep making videos. I know next week
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to be back with more anime to talk about. What about you? Anything that you hope to do like during this week to maybe talk
Um,
about or share? Anything
You
you're
know,
looking forward to?
honestly, same thing. I think I'm gonna definitely check out Pokemon, but I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like definitely try to like look and see what anime I can like find on, line and watch like random anime
Yeah,
and like talk about them. You know what I mean?
nice.
So I'm
There
definitely
you
gonna do
go.
that.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
like,
There you go.
yeah.
All right, some pretty good stuff. Then, all right, guys, this is where we're going to leave you. That's been the end of episode 22. We'll try our best to be back next week with more content. And that's it. We'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.